Hello, welcome to the Grant Administration Workshop for the Professional Development for Artists Grant for fiscal year 2026. I'm Martine Collier, the Division Director of the Arts Council, and Kathy Collins, who will be the Program Manager, will be leading this presentation. First of all, we want to congratulate everyone who has received this grant for 2026. This is quite an achievement. But now what we'd like to do is cover everything about the grant administration to make sure that from the time you get the grant agreement, you know what's going on and you can hit these benchmarks appropriately. So with that said, I'm going to let Kathy start now to do the presentation, and there'll be plenty of time for questions afterwards.
Okay, I am having just a little technical issue. Lisa, are you able to control the screen?
Let's see if I can move it forward. Yes, I should be able to move it
So
forward.
just go back to the first
Yep.
one. All right,
Yep.
so good afternoon, everyone. And as Martine said, thank you for attending and congratulations on achieving a high enough score to receive a grant for fiscal year 2026. Today, we're going to go over everything that you need to do with respect to getting your grant started, with respect to like your grant agreement, getting your equipment or educational experience, getting reimbursed, completing your final report. So the first thing, we're going to go over the grant agreement. If you could move the screen forward to the next one, Lisa. Okay, so what I want you to make sure that you understand is that your grant agreement is a contract. It is the legal contract between you and Hillsborough County. The grant agreement also incorporates everything from your grant application, including your narrative and your budget. So what that basically means is what you asked for in your grant application is what you are limited to with respect to asking for any type of reimbursement. Moreover, because this grant agreement is a contract, you need to carefully review it before you sign anything because it is legally binding on you once it is signed by both you and a representative of Hillsborough County. We will provide you with a copy once everyone has signed it so that you will have it in your possession. So the steps to getting started include reviewing the grant agreement, making sure you completely understand it. Then you sign it. You also need to sign and date the W-9 form that I sent you and return both the W-9 and the grant agreement to me via email. And I think I gave everyone till like the end of this week to get that back to me. So real quickly, let's just go over a little bit of the reimbursement request process. Please remember that your grant period is from January 1, 2026 to August 15, 2026. That essentially means that you cannot begin to incur any type of expense until January 1, 26. If you buy something on December 31 at 5 minutes to midnight, you're not getting reimbursed. Make sure it is on or after January 1st. You also need to make sure that everything that you do is completed well before August 15th, 2026, because that is like the drop dead date for getting your reimbursement requests in. If anything is incurred outside of that period, or if it doesn't comply with what you asked for in your grant application, you're not going to get reimbursed. You can only be reimbursed for either the equipment or the educational experience that you asked for in your application. Again, remember, your application, including your narrative and your budget, are incorporated into your grant, into the grant agreement. So there isn't going to be any opportunity other than if there is some exceptional reason why something needs to be changed, and we'll go over that in a second. The other thing I want you to make sure that you understand is that you, as the individual artist, must pay for your expenses. You cannot have a spouse, partner, parent, someone else pay for it and then ask for reimbursement. You have to use your own bank account, your own credit card, or your own Cash App and when you make the payments in order to get reimbursed. We have had in the past where someone had a partner pay for stuff and then they tried to get reimbursement. It's not going to work. Again, all reimbursements have to be submitted by August 15th, 2026. And it really should be before that date. Now, if you will recall, you used the Neighborly grant portal to make your application. You're going to use the same thing when you go to make your reimbursements. So you'll need to have your username and your password that you used from your grant application, and you'll log in, and then you're going to be looking for certain sections of the Neighborly, and we're going to go over that right now. This slide shows you the reimbursement form. It's the next slide. All sections in this, you're going to look for where it says PDAG invoice for reimbursement payment. You have to fill in all the sections of it, and then you upload the pertinent information at the bottom, and you have to fill in all the sections. You have to hit complete, and then it will get sent to us. If for some reason you don't fill in all the sections and you don't hit submit or complete, it's not going to come to me. It only comes to me once everything is done and you put the information in. So just make sure that when it comes time, if you have any questions about it, you can always contact me, but you have to make sure that you fill this information in fully, because that's how you get one of the steps to getting reimbursed. Now, if something does change, you need to let us know. We have a grant change request form that you can use, but this is only in extraordinary circumstances. And here is an example. Let's say in your grant application, you asked for an IBM printer, and for whatever reason, that particular printer is no longer available when you go to buy it after January 1st. But let's say there is maybe an Epson printer that is the same price or less. You can contact us. We'll get you the grant request change form, and you can tell us why you can't use or why you can't get what you thought you were going to get, because either they've discontinued it or it's not available. What you can't do is you can't ask for, if you asked for a printer, you can't now ask for a computer or a camera or something that is not what you asked for in your grant application. I want that to be completely understood. You can make a substitution for something that is similar, that is the same price or less, but it cannot be substantially different. In addition, you can't make the change until we have approved it. So you have to let us know as soon as that happens if there is something that has gone wrong with what you thought you were going to do. So once you get your grant request change, if you need it, then you can proceed with purchasing your equipment. Now, whether or not, if your regular thing that you asked for is available, then you go ahead and you can purchase it after January 1st. But make sure that you keep any and all invoices or receipts or ship packing information, bank statements, credit card statements, Cash App statements, anything that shows what you paid for, when you paid for it, how much you paid, so that you can include that in the upload when you do your reimbursement request. You have to attach all those things. If you send things in and you don't have something that shows how you paid for it, when you paid for it, I'm going to contact you and say, I need that information. I also would prefer if you also provide us with a photo of the piece of equipment. Show you got it, or the packing slip, or something to prove that you actually paid for it and you received it. And again, remember, you have to pay for this stuff yourself. You cannot have a third party do it on your behalf. Now, let's talk a little bit about if you asked for an educational experience. This can get a little bit tricky because you may or may not have to travel to where you're going. You have to remember that what you asked for in your grant application is what you're limited to. So let's say, for example, you're going to take or you're going to go to a workshop in Baltimore. You can't go to Baltimore via Chicago and stay in Chicago for a couple of days, then take another train or a plane or something to Baltimore. If you do that, you're still limited to what you asked for. So you have to fly to Baltimore, you stay in Baltimore for the requisite period of time for the workshop, then you return to Tampa. There isn't going to be any, we're going to go on a, multi-state trip or wherever, and then ask for reimbursement for a variety of different places. And believe me, people have tried to do it, and if the answer is no. So along with your educational experience, you have to provide us copies of your itinerary, the receipt, the invoice for the actual educational experience, and or if you ask for travel, you have to provide us with the same type of information for the travel. You're going to need to provide your bank statement, a credit card statement, again, Cash App. We want to see that you paid for it, how you paid for it, when you paid for it, and how much you paid for. Same thing applies to like the travel and to lodging. Now, with respect to lodging, if you are going out of state, remember you are limited to a single room rate. So there can't be other people that are on the educational event with you staying in the room that you are asking the county to pay for. And again, you have to make the actual expense has to be incurred by you, not someone else. When I receive the information, I look and make sure that everything is accurate and that it is verified. So that means I will go back and I'll look at your grant application to see whether or not you did what you said you're going to do when you're making your reimbursement. Please remember that if you don't provide me with all of your information, that's not going to extend the time for you to ask for reimbursement. So if you submit something on August 14th and it's incorrect or it's completely, it's just void of any real information, it's not going to buy you more time to do it. You have to do it well before then, and you have to provide us with all the information. So it's best that you get your things in ahead of time. Excuse me. Now we should be on the slide with respect to the logo. You are going to receive this logo if you have a website or if you post things on Facebook or Instagram or any other social media, or if you have you get press coverage and there's some sort of press release about something that you're doing. We need to make sure that you are giving credit to the county. Now, that doesn't mean that every single thing that you do in the next year, you have to give Hillsborough County credit for it. What it means is if you are using the piece of equipment or you're on your educational experience, we would like you to give the county credit for receiving the grant, which allowed you to do the experience or to get the piece of equipment. Now, we also want you to promote yourselves. So if you are going to be in a show, or if you're going to have an exhibit, or you're going to be somewhere, let us know. You can either go onto the website at hillsborougharts.org and add it yourself, or you can send me the information via email, and we will make sure that it gets into either the calendar and or into the newsletter. We want to make sure that people, if you are going to have a gallery showing or something and you're using the equipment that you got, or you're going to be at a fair or a festival, let us know so that we can let people know that you are using the equipment that you received. Or if you have a show following the educational experience, we want to know about it. Now, throughout all the time that you are doing your grant application, I want you to keep a couple of things in mind that you're going to need to provide for us when it comes time for the final report. The final report's due on September 30th. And in that final report, you're asked to tell us about your educational experience or your equipment. We want you to tell us, how did it advance your career as an artist? We also want some photos, and then we want evidence that you gave Hillsborough County recognition. So because you're going to be doing all this in September, it may only make sense that you keep this information and keep it in mind as you're going along. Take a photo when you get your piece of equipment. Take a photo of something that you've made with it. Then tell us, how did that make your career as an artist better? Keep copies or screenshots of any type of social media where you've given credit to the county so that you can include that in your final report. The other thing is any and all things that you do with respect to this grant can always be used for another grant. If you decide next year you're going to apply somewhere, those photos and this experience from this grant that you're receiving from the county can be used to justify getting another grant from someone else. You may be able to show, look at what I did, look at how much it advanced or it made a difference in the items that I am producing, and this is why getting a grant from someone else is going to make a difference for me. Now, a couple of things I want you to take away from this particular webinar today is, remember, the grant agreement is a contract and it's a legally binding contract. So don't sign it, without understanding what you are signing. Don't do it lightly. And if things change, something happens, I am the first person you need to let know. If, for example, you have something happens in your life or in your family and you can't do what you thought you were going to do, let me know. We need to know as soon as it happens. Don't just forfeit the grant at the end of the grant period without ever letting us know anything that's going on. I also need you to make sure that you remember that you, as the artist, are personally responsible for incurring expenses and then requesting reimbursement. No third parties can be involved. Then we also need you to prove what you got or what you did. So take photos, keep all of your documents, and again, photos will be useful in your final report. Now, in 2025, we had, for the first time, we had an exhibit at the Crest Contemporary in Ybor featuring some of the artists from 2025, and they showed a couple of pieces of art that they used with, for example, the equipment that they got from their grant. And we're going to do that again. And everyone, regardless of your medium, will be invited to attend the exhibit. It will be sometime in October. I will get you more specific information. Press Contemporary does a great job of, setting up the exhibit. They also are going to probably help with a class or two on teaching everyone how to display their items, how to market some of your items there. And you can also sign an agreement with them where if people come through and they see it and they may want to buy it, then you'll be able to sell your art there as well. Again, it will be sometime in mid-October, but I will let you all know much sooner than that so that you'll have the date and you can put it on your calendars and that you'll know when when we're going to have it, and we'll provide you with as much information as we can. Now, I know that I talk pretty fast and I go through things very, very quickly, but I want you to understand that I am here for you. So if it doesn't matter how, someone may say, oh, that's an insignificant question. No question is too small or insignificant. I am only a phone call or an email away, and I am more than happy to help. I also am available for you if you need help filling in the reimbursement requests or the final report. If you have any problems when you get into Neighborly, please let me know. Sometimes they do have bugs that we need to let them know and they can fix it. So please don't get frustrated if you get in there and something's not working. It may not be you, it may very well be them. So again, remember, I am always your first contact with respect to anything that you have to do with this grant. I can't always help once the reimbursement gets submitted and it goes to the clerk's office for payment, but there are ways that we can contact them to try to find out if there's ever a problem with anyone getting a payment. Now, if anyone has any questions, please let us know and we will make every effort to answer any questions that you might have. Okay, you can unmute yourself and ask the question or type it in.
Kathy, do you want me to stop sharing so I can see the chat?
Sure.
I'm here now too. I see one person, Heidi, raising her
Yeah,
hand. but
Heidi,
I
you
don't
have,
see
if you
anything
have a
else.
question, you can unmute yourself and then just ask the question.
Got it. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So Kathy, thank you for the email with all this paperwork that we just discussed. I don't know if it's a user error on my end, but when I go to click on the names of the files, they're not linked. I can't get to the documents.
Okay, I'll resend them to you.
Great.
They're just PDFs, what I
Yeah.
sent, so they should be able to open, but let me resend it and then just please let me know if you were able to get them or not.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
So Kathy, I'd like to add something. First of all, we encourage everyone, the grant period doesn't start until January 1st, but the earlier in 2026 that you buy your equipment and start the reimbursement process, the better. For one thing, we've had occasions when it was a piece of equipment that if they waited till June or July, it was no longer available, and then we had to do the change request. So as soon in the new year as you are comfortable purchasing that, then you can do the reimbursement and we will get you paid back for the money that you spent as quickly as we can.
And as Martine said, the one thing I want you to understand is once the reimbursement comes to me, I do everything I can to get it processed and off my desk quickly. So if I have everything that I need, I will process it. Martine signs off on it, and then we send it to the clerk's office. Now, once it goes to the clerk's office, it's sort of out of my hands, but I do periodically look and I try to make sure they've gotten a lot quicker in the last few years of getting the payments out. If you can opt to go with the direct deposit that we sent, that always is the quickest way. But if you don't have that ability, they will send a physical check to your bank account or to your home.
And that's another good reason to take care of this earlier in the year, because if you submit right around the deadline time, what happens is the clerk's office, all the grants in the county are submitting then, and that can slow things down. So if you avoid that peak time period, that will also get your reimbursement to you more quickly. Well, the exhibition that Kathy told you about, that's the first time we've done this for our individual artist grantees. It was wonderful. We plan to do it again in October of this year. So be tentatively thinking about participating in that, because we did it on the same night as the Ybor Arts Tour. So there was a whole lot of visibility. People were walking the streets, and our artists got a lot of eyes on their art. And Tempest Projects would, even if someone wanted to buy your art, they even handle the sale. So, the Arts Council doesn't do it, but they were willing to do that. So it's just good visibility. So be thinking, put that in your thought process for next October. Anybody have any other questions?
Okay, we will make the slideshow available to you, and this webinar is also being recorded. And if you want a recording of it, please just send me an email and I will get it out to you as soon as it is available.
Thank you all again for attending. And once again, congratulations. We're excited that you received the grant, and we just want to help things go smoothly for you during the process.
Thank you, everyone.